Hey folks, Damon DeMarco here for CreateX3.com, and today I'm going to give you 5 hacks to increase or enhance your creativity. These are simple things that anybody can do anywhere. It basically boils down to a little bit of self-discipline. It boils down to forming new habits that are more aligned with accelerating your creativity and getting rid of the stuff that's holding you back. So let's get started. Habit number 1 is take time every single day to go within. What does that mean? You can interpret that however you want to. It is basically up to you. If it's formal meditation, if that's something that you're into, by all means, go do it. 10 minutes a day pays enormous dividends. If you can put in 20, 10 in the morning and 10 in the evening, believe me, it will make a difference in your life. If you need to know more about meditation, I've done a little video here on Vipassana meditation, which has helped me out tremendously. But there's many different types of meditation, so research one that you feel comfortable with and practice it. That's the thing. You have to practice it. If you don't practice, you're not going to get the benefit of it. If it's not a formal meditation, it could just be you sitting for 10 minutes alone in the quiet of the morning. Morning is a great time to do any of this stuff with a cup of coffee. Coffee heals all wounds. Gathering your thoughts, thinking about the day ahead, thinking about where you want to be, not just today, but tomorrow, in 2 years, 5 years, and so on. Reflect. Take some time to get to know who you are, what's troubling you, what's exciting you, where you want to go. The point is to give yourself a break. 99.9% of the time, we're all running around doing all sorts of things, trying to do this, trying to do that, to be this person, to be that person. We're considering all this data that's coming at us from countless sources, and there's no time left for us anymore. It's far too easy to forget who we are, which is limitless, profound, powerful. Don't forget that. Make time for yourself. Unplug from this world of sights and sounds and just go within. I saw a bumper sticker one time. It said, if you go within, you'll never go without. Years later, I started meditating and I thought, they were right. When we unplug from the world, what happens is we get new ideas, new inspirations come to us, new questions come to us. That well will only fill up if we let it go every once in a while. Can't constantly run up here and expect that anything good is going to happen. You gotta take time to get away. You know, a trip is always nice, I mean, if you can. But the best trip you can always give yourself is just closing your eyes, paying more attention to what you see and feel going on inside you. Mystics, poets, artists for thousands of years have been practicing meditation in any number of styles. Try it. See if it does anything for you. It costs you nothing. 10 minutes a day. And treat those 10 minutes as sacred. They're your time. You're giving that to yourself. Very important that you do that. Artists must give themselves little treats to appease that little child or demon, the unconscious thing within each of us. Let it know that you care. Let it know that you're looking out for it. Let it know that you're trying to work with it to produce something. It's not your antithesis. It's your partner. When you make that shift, you might find yourself constantly creative at a rate that is very foreign to you at first, but then it becomes quite comfortable. Hack number 2, start imagining yourself as the person you want to be. If you've had a tough time in the past, if certain things didn't go your way, if your career or your life or your relationship or what have you isn't exactly where you want it to be.
Taking your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but that's done. It's over. The past cannot be touched. It can only be carried with us. If you want to. And if you don't like it, put it down or rewrite it. Start imagining yourself to be as you want to be. And due to the miracle of imagination and the scientific miracle of neuroplasticity, studies show that you're going to become that person. You almost can't help it if you are consistent, if you are gentle with yourself, and persistent. Start imagining yourself as the person that you want to be. And lo and behold, I cannot tell you when it will happen, but it will happen. It has to follow. It's like a law. It's like gravity. You drop a heavy object, it's going to fall to the earth. That's the law of gravity. The law of visualization says that we become what we imagine. And so, in tandem with going within, hack number 1, we have to take charge of our thoughts. We have to kind of get up into the pilot house, the cockpit, and and we have to say, I'm steering this vehicle this way, or I'm steering it this way. You are in charge. We are in charge. And so all you have to do is begin to visualize yourself as the person that you want to be, and it's going to happen. Do it every night before you go to bed. If the old you keeps coming back and tapping you on your shoulder and say, hey, what about me? You say, I'm in love with you. I totally am. But now it's time for both of us to transform, because this is what we want. Hack number 3, write a letter to yourself every month. This letter should be written to your future self. From hack number 2, talk to yourself. Say, hey, future self, this is where I am right now. This is what's troubling me. Do you have any advice for me? Don't be surprised, by the way, if your future self starts to write back. That's one of the things that I discovered about sitting down in front of a typewriter. When you begin to talk to it, sometimes the damn thing talks back. And sometimes in that process, we are transformed because we are coming to grips with, we are coming to a finer relationship with our creativity, with our inner desires, with our hopes, with our dreams, with our impulses. All of that is coming to the surface. It is no longer being suppressed or repressed, tamped down so that we can function in the world that everybody else wants us to function in. That which we have always dreamed of ourselves as being starts to come up from the innermost places within us, and it starts to fulfill us. Just like water seeping up from a ground table, it just starts to take charge. And that's a beautiful thing, because suddenly you might become tremendously productive. You might see avenues for your work that you never saw before. You might start meeting people who are mysteriously aligned with what you want to get done. Follow all of these impulses, and it begins by hack number 3, writing a letter to yourself. Do it once a month. Sit down. Do it in whatever way feels comfortable to you. Write it in pen. Write it by typewriter. I would stay away from the computer for this one, personally. But get it done. Make it a ritual. Again, this is your time. It should be sacred to you. Make sure that you get it done. Hack number 4 is a very important one. Stop chasing what you want. I mean that. Stop. I don't care what it is or why you want it. Your chasing it is driving it further and further away from you. It's kind of like butterfly hunting, if you've ever done that. The more you run after the butterfly with the net, the more nimble the butterfly seems to get, the more it seems to evade your swipes of the net, the more it disappears when it was fluttering right there in front of you. It's very discouraging. It is counterproductive. It can feel insane. However, when you just stop swinging that net around, when you just abandon the idea of catching butterflies, they start to land on you. I've had this happen to me. They just land on you. It's like they're coming to you. It's like they sense the resistance is gone, and they say, hey, I'd like to hang out here for a while with you. And you go, okay, no problem. And it's just that simple. Why did you ever do it any differently, you may ask yourself. Why did I ever think that I needed to do anything more than this? Different question for a different time. For right now, hack number 4, very powerful one. Stop chasing what you want. Let it come to you. This does not mean that you don't have to put in any effort. No, that is a false interpretation of what I'm saying. If you're a writer, write. If you're a potter, throw your pots. If you're an actor, you've got to audition. If you're a musician, you've got to practice your scales. You've got to hang out with other musicians. You've got to play. You've got to listen. You've got to riff. You've got to do all these things. Practice your craft by all means. It's what makes you an artist in the first place. I'm not saying don't do any of that stuff. I am saying let go of any anxiety that you might have toward your industry or success, however you imagine that to be. Let it go. Focus instead on having a great time doing what you love to do and getting it right, whatever that means to you. And suddenly, I have a feeling that what's going to happen is opportunities are going to start coming to you. People are going to start coming to you. And you're just going to be prepared for it because all along you were doing what you should have been doing, which is focusing on the craft, focusing on the art. Does that make sense? Personally, I see it as cats. Cats know instinctively if a person is worth hanging out with. They do. If you have cats, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If they sense any tension around you, they bolt. If you go hunting for them, oh, how are you? You're so cute, you're so lovely. They bolt. They hide under the bed. They're like, who is this freaky person? What are they doing? They can just sense when we're being too false. Do you know what I mean? Cats have a very, very high shit barometer. They do. So ignore them. Just ignore them. What happens when you ignore a cat? Suddenly they're coming up and they're like, they're doing that cat thing. They're wiping their lips against your legs and they're stalking across your keyboard. Hey, remember me? Pay attention to me. When are you going to feed me? Suddenly they come to you because you were just completely ignoring them. Think about cats. Think about butterflies. It's all about cats and butterflies. Now we come to hack number 5. I consider this the most important of all the 5 hacks, which is why I put it at the end. Refuse to harbor negative thoughts. Just don't do it. This is probably the most misunderstood factor of all. Refusing to harbor negative thoughts doesn't mean that you walk through life like Pollyanna, like, oh, there's nothing wrong, the world is a lovely place. It is a lovely place, but there are problems with the world. The point is that we're not adding to those problems. The point is that we're not giving in to them. We're not letting them overwhelm us. When obstacles come to us, as they surely will in anyone's life at any different time, deal with them, but don't take them too seriously. Don't take yourself so seriously that you think that you're above dealing with a problem. You're not. Just deal with the problem. Deal with it cheerfully. Deal with it creatively. Get it done, feel really good about it, and keep moving on. Realize that nobody can stop you but you. Nobody can stop us but us. There is nothing to fear but fear itself. We must empower ourselves to act against obstacles, to surmount problems with cheer, vitality, and persistence. Critically, this also means that we don't want to add to the problems of the world due to our own malfeasance, due to our own inability to control ourselves. Do not interject any negativity into a conversation or into an operation, into any enterprise in thought or deed. If you catch yourself doing it, cut yourself a break, be generous to yourself, but then by all means say, let's not do it that way again. Everybody has a bad day now and then, but with a little bit of practice, just like meditation, you'll find that this no longer becomes a compulsion if you have it. And if you don't have it, fantastic, keep practicing it. It never goes away. By doing this, we commit to the truth that Dr. Viktor Frankl wrote about. He said, everything can be taken away from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's own attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. That's powerful stuff. It places the burden of responsibility squarely on our shoulders. But what does responsibility mean in the first place? These days, the word has become pejorative. Oh, it's my responsibility. Oh, it's your responsibility. Oh, it's your responsibility. What does the word really mean? It doesn't mean onus. It doesn't mean burden. It means the ability to respond. We must never lose our ability to respond, for in doing so, we lose free will. And it's hard to be creative when you don't have free will. So, those are my top 5 hacks currently for leading a more creative life. I hope they help you. If they do, if they don't, leave comments down here. Please remember to hit subscribe up here or up here. I can never forget if the camera's getting it this way. It doesn't matter. Just hit subscribe. Ring the bell. If there's a bell, ring it, please. If you like these videos, please go to createx3.com and sign up for our newsletter for CreateX3. I am Damon DeMarco. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay creative.